What's up, guys? So today we just got some news about who Chip Ganassi hired to replace Kyle Larson, and it is Matt Kenseth. So I'm gonna give you my opinion on what I think of uh, his decision, and get your thoughts on what you think on my opinion, because I'm gonna say something that I'm sure a lot of you guys might not agree with, but let's just move forward. So, Chip Ganassi hiring Matt Kenseth. Honestly, I'm just going to tell you right off the bat, it's not a bad decision, right? He did what I consider to be a safe, decision to hire this guy. He's a world class driver, very talented, uh, but he's 48 years old, and I'm sure it's okay for the short term. I don't think this is a long term deal, but he's a world class driver, and the guy has no controversy, attached to him. He's been in the sport a long time. He carries himself very well. Very nice guy, very milquetoast, no controversy. So there's really nothing to worry about when you hire a driver like this. He's very professional. So his decision, it was a good decision overall. Like in business wise, I think it checks off a lot of boxes in terms of what sponsors might be worried about, and he's going to be competitive. I wouldn't be shocked if he went out and actually won a race, but he's definitely going to be competitive. So you got yourself a really solid driver with really no controversy attached to him. So why do I think that Chip Ganassi missed a golden opportunity? I'm going to talk about that in a second. Now, again, I want to reiterate, he made the right decision in a business sense, and it's the safe play, right? But personally, I would have liked to have seen him take a gamble, try something a little outside the box, and just take a chance. And I'm going to tell you what I would have loved to have heard, right? Instead of Chip Ganassi hires Matt Kenseth to replace Kyle Larson in the 42, I would have loved to have heard Chip Ganassi, owner of the 42 car in the NASCAR Monster Energy Cup Series, just fired Kyle Larson for using the N-word and has replaced him with Bubba Wallace or Daniel Suarez. So I know a lot of you guys are probably thinking, well, these guys are already under contract and whatever. But I think that I'm making an announcement like that would have gone a lot further in terms of marketing. NASCAR desperately needs a shot in the arm of just positive buzz. And I think that this delivers that in a way that, hiring Matt Kenseth doesn't, right? So we all know that Matt Kenseth is a championship caliber driver. This isn't really about us. I'm talking about marketing. I'm talking about appealing to a wider audience and maybe attracting people to come watch who normally don't follow NASCAR, and dare I even say people who have a negative view of NASCAR and already think of NASCAR as it's just a bunch of rednecks going in circles who they all like waving the Confederate flag. There's a negative view of NASCAR by a lot of people who don't follow the sport. And we've talked about this before, but I'm saying that there was an opportunity here to try something that would actually benefit NASCAR and bring a lot of positive buzz to the NASCAR community and to the sport. So it's one thing if they can bring back NASCAR racing as soon as possible, and they're talking about mid-May, mid to late May, that would be great, and especially getting ahead of other sports. I think you're going to get a lot of people tune in to watch, especially if it's prime time. And I already talked about how important that is, and I think that would be huge. But I think on top of that, it would have been an even bigger story, right? To coincide with bringing back live NASCAR racing at this particular time, to have that on top of everything, right? Because the most recent major story involving NASCAR has to do with a very negative story of Kyle Larson and using the N-word. So that's like still fresh in people's minds, especially people who don't really follow NASCAR, and this is their view of it, and they're like, oh, so Chip Ganassi did the right thing. He did what he had to do. He fired Kyle Larson, but just take a moment to step outside of your own self, of your own, being a NASCAR fan, right? Put yourself in the shoes of somebody who already views NASCAR, doesn't know a lot about NASCAR, but that their view of NASCAR is very negative. What do you think they think when they read or hear that the driver that was hired to replace the guy that was just fired for using the N-word is a 48-year-old white guy? Now, you and I know that Matt Kenseth is a good dude, that he carries himself very well, and he's a great race car driver, right? We know that. But people outside the sport who are thinking about all this negative shit, they don't know that. They just know it's some 48-year-old white guy who's taking over for the guy that was just fired for using the N-word. That's not a good look. And I don't think anything bad is going to come of it, right? So I don't want people to get carried away. I'm not turning this into, oh, this is going to really hurt NASCAR. I don't think this is going to hurt NASCAR. I think that what Ganassi did was a solid move. It's a safe move. What I am saying is that an opportunity to really help boost NASCAR in terms of marketing, in terms of bringing a positive vibe to the sport, where you want people to start paying attention, especially if you're going to bring racing back. You want to drum up some really good buzz. This was your opportunity. Now, I know these guys are under contract, but I'm just saying, at least pick up a phone, call Levine Racing. How hard would it be to work out some kind of deal to pull Suarez away, put him in the 42? Or Bubba Wallace from Petty, Motorsports. I don't think they would fight Chip Ganassi tooth and nail. They could work something out somehow. Sponsors would love it. McDonald's, Credit One Bank, whoever. These corporations love positive exposure, positive buzz. To have a potentially heartwarming story, something that, we're all suckers for a good redemption story, right? Suarez is relegated to driving for one of the worst, cars in the sport, right? He's going to struggle there, and a lot of people have given up on him. But he's young, and I think he's talented, and maybe getting another opportunity to come to the 42 car, at least to the end of the year, and let's see what he can do. Maybe he shows enough. Maybe he gets a chance to redeem himself. That would be a great story. And he's a Mexican driver. That helps. Or Bubba Wallace, who's been stuck driving that 43 car. They're never going to be successful anytime soon. To have him have an opportunity to drive for a competitive race team and possibly, compete, be competitive. I'm not saying he's going to go out and win a bunch of races, but man, at least be in the mix. That would be a big story of redemption for a guy who's struggling and also has his own issues, with depression and things like that. But a black driver. And now people are like, I'm not saying everyone's like this, but if you're someone who doesn't really follow NASCAR and you know all about the recent negative stories, could you not imagine that some of these people might be like, oh, they've replaced that guy who used the N-word, they fired him, and they replace him with a 48-year-old white guy? That is going to be, at least for some people, the thought process. And I don't think it's going to hurt NASCAR. I just think that they had an opportunity to really boost their own image and to create some positive story to turn lemons into lemonade. That's really what I'm looking at, right? I'm not trying to kill Chip Ganassi for his decision. It's a good decision. It's solid. It's a decent business move, but it's a safe move, right? There's no risk involved. And maybe that's all that matters to him and maybe to these sponsors. But I'm sure that you could sell these sponsors on the idea that, hey, if I can get Daniel Suarez in the car or Bubba Wallace, we can turn this into a positive, spin. And also, NASCAR would love that. NASCAR is desperate to appeal to a wider audience. And that would be the perfect segue into bringing back NASCAR racing within the next month and really drum up a positive buzz and get people to tune in. All I'm saying is it was a missed opportunity. So I don't want people to go ape shit and say, "Oh, here we go." I'm just saying, would it really have hurt NASCAR or Chip Ganassi Racing, or just to have a feel good story? Maybe just from here till the end of the season, no one's gonna really care or remember about the Larson thing or anything like that. But I'm talking about right now. This is a crucial time for NASCAR. It's very important that they do things the right way and bring back the sport as quickly as possible so that they can take advantage of the current situation where this is where they're most likely going to hit their best ratings, right? Time will tell, but I truly believe if they're one of the first sports to come back on TV, and you're able to do this on prime time, you think people are going to keep watching updates to this crisis or reruns on TV? They're going to tune in just to check it out. And if you got a positive story behind it, people will tune in, even if it's just for that. Hey, I'd like to see this. Oh, look, they replaced this guy who used the N-word. They got rid of him, and they replaced him with a Mexican guy or a black guy. I'm interested. Let me watch. Let me see what's going on. How are they going to do in this, situation? Just even if it's just for that, you're going to get some people just based on that. Every little bit helps. And I'm just saying, marketing-wise, it's just a missed opportunity. I think the sponsors would eat it up. I think just people in general, it's a feel good possible redemption story of some kind, right? Not that everyone needs redemption, but that's how we are as people. We're suckers for happy endings, good stories, and NASCAR desperately needs something like that. So I got no problem with Kenseth. He's a great driver, but he's 48 years old, and yeah, even if it's for the short term, the guy can drive. He's probably gonna run very well. But, personally, I would have liked to have seen, Chip Ganassi take a chance and do something like that. And I know a lot of people out there are upset because they want Ross Chastain to get the chance, and the guy is talented. But I just think that in this particular situation, the time that we're currently in, the situation with NASCAR as a sport overall, it would have been a decent. They could have did something, and maybe, who knows? Maybe they could have worked something out where Ross Chastain ends up in, one of their rides. They come to the 42, whatever. I mean, I don't know. And that's above my head. But at least try, right? How hard would it have been to get Daniel Suarez or a Bubba Wallace in the 42 and give them to the end? Just let them ride it out for the season. And if by the time the end of the season comes, if you don't see potential with either of them, then you say, okay, we're letting you go, and Ross Chastain in the 42. And that'd be fine, right? But really, you're not going to get another opportunity like this. And like I said in my previous video, you really have to take advantage of every opportunity. And right now, NASCAR, their biggest opportunity is to make sure they come back as soon as possible, do it the right way, and get people to watch. And you're never going to have another opportunity for people to tune in than right now, when people are desperate for anything. You get any fucking sport right now on prime time, people are going to tune in. So that's the big thing. And then on top of that, that would have been the icing on the cake. That would have been the feel-good story, And I know a lot of you guys don't like the politics of it, and you're probably going to, criticize me for it. And just keep in mind, I'm not saying Chip Ganassi, I'm not saying what he did was wrong. I'm saying he missed out on a big opportunity. An opportunity that would have benefited not just him, not just his sponsors, because if it benefits his sponsors, it benefits him, but also benefits NASCAR as a whole. And whether you want to admit it or not, NASCAR does need, they have a lot of work to do to branch out and expand and appeal to a wider audience. And with everything that's happened recently, this could have been a real boost, a real feel-good thing that would have pulled a lot of people in. Because sometimes people watch just for stories outside of just the sport. Like when you had Janet Guthrie, and she was the first woman driver in NASCAR, and that created a lot of buzz, and a lot of people do tune in just because. And I know a lot of you guys don't like that, but we're not talking about just sticking guys off the street. We're talking about talented young race car drivers. Bubba Wallace and Daniel Suarez, in my opinion, are talented. So it's not like you're just sticking any old schmuck in the car just for marketing. I'm just saying this would have benefited everyone. And worst case scenario, they don't run well, and at the end of the year, you let them go, and you replace them with Ross Chastain or whoever. No problem. But this moment, right now, you're not going to get a second chance. So, a missed opportunity, in my opinion. I'm not upset that he hired, Matt Kenseth. I'm not upset. It's actually a solid move. It's safe. It's not going to ruffle feathers. So, even though I would have liked to have seen the other scenario, I'm not mad at Chip. I'm not, this isn't going to hurt anybody. And I can't say it was a bad decision. So that's not what I'm saying. But do you agree or disagree that this would have been a really good move? What, my fantasy? Or not? Maybe you think I'm out of my mind. In either case, let me know. One last thing before I close off. I want to say that I do appreciate each and every one of you who tune in and watch. And a lot of times, I get notifications of messages that you guys do post, and for some reason, I get the notification, but the message doesn't post in the comment section. I don't know why that is. I'm not really smart when it comes to figuring all this shit out. I went to the editing. I checked the comments. Sometimes comments will be pushed off into something like something being held for review or possible spam, and it's there are a couple of you who have sent posted messages and it's not posting. So I want you to know I'm not blocking, I'm not deleting messages or anything like that. If you post a message and it's not popping up in the comment section, try posting it again. I don't know what the problem is. So I don't want people to think, oh, I posted something. Why isn't that not popping up? Is he deleting messages? I don't do that. I've deleted messages in the past, and I can tell you honestly, in two hands, I could probably count how many times in 8 years that I've been posting videos that I've actually deleted comments. And I've only deleted comments if they are just somebody trolling or being incredibly stupid, and it's not really, I don't mind criticism, and I don't mind people telling me they disagree or criticize me or correct me. I'm always open to being corrected on something. So I don't want people to think, oh, if he doesn't like my opinion, he's going to delete it. I don't do that. So if you see that you posted a comment and it's not popping up, it's not me. Some of these comments just don't post. Try posting it again. So I just wanted to clear that up. So I look forward to your comments. Let me know what you guys think about my thoughts on everything I talked about today. So later.